Remember, there's a song about tanks, you know. Tanks for the memory. Well, at a basic level, it's the second most important sustainer of life behind air. You know, if you're a being that needs to breathe air and drink water, you know, there's other forms of life that don't. But you know, from a basic level, we can't last more than 4 days without it. But at a more specific level, for what we're doing here at the farm, you know, we need the two magic ingredients really: water and sunshine. You know, we've certainly got some sunshine today. So you know, what's really important though in these times of challenges regarding water, even here in Oregon, for the first time last year, Lane County was declared in a drought, and that's literally the first time. So what we've been concentrating on is capturing rainwater more than anything else, because we want to be able to water, to irrigate whatever's growing here when you know it isn't raining, because obviously we want to get one of the principles of permaculture is to get good yields. So yeah, water's very, very important to us. It's important to all of us, but it's important to any of us who are growing things to eat. So I'll go back a step and just say something very basic, which is a very important basic. I've used that word a few times now. That's because I'm in the software business and basic was a programming language. Anyway, yeah, the thing is that there is only really one source of water, and that is precipitation, be it rain, hail, snow, and everything else basically is a storage mechanism. So even rivers, which people don't tend to think of them as storage mechanisms, they are, you know, but the water in the rivers is moving, you know, or streams. So if we take that into account, it's really important that we capture whatever rainwater we can from you know, whatever sources we can, which is typically from the roof. And I learned that more than anywhere else when I lived in New Zealand on a small island called Waiheke, and apart from a few people who had wells there, everybody captured water off the roof and used that for anything, which in actual fact, just to put that into perspective, eventually here we'll install filtration and we will use the rainwater for drinking and bathing, etc. In the short term it'll be for irrigation. Yeah, I mean, it's not rocket science not to be demeaning, but it isn't. You know, and I know because I've gone through this. You know, at one point I didn't even think about collecting rainwater or anything else, particularly about water. It just came out of the faucet. We can do some really basic stuff, and if we get the chance today, I'll show some of that. Just get something that if it's going to rain, just have something outside if you can that you can catch water in. If you're in a house, it's a bit easier because obviously you can put something out on the ground. If you're in apartments, I think it's really worth talking to the landlord, you know, and saying, look, you know, why don't we try and capture rainwater, because this is going to reduce your water bills, and let's make no mistake about it. In places where there's more drought than there was, the water bills are going to be very expensive. I mean, we heard of in the Greater Los Angeles area, one of the beach cities, of people with $900 a month water bills. So I think we can appeal to landlords in that regard and get them to put some water capture mechanisms in there. Rainwater or snow or whatever it may be. If we're going past here, I'll just past the greenhouse here. I'll point out, if I may, not Paul, I'll point out, if I may, this water tank here, which is not connected yet, but that's a 1,000-gallon water tank. Sounds like a lot of water. You'll notice in this film little, various buildings around and about, and we did an audit of how much water comes off those buildings, and in a typical rainy season here, it's over 170,000 gallons. So, another point I would make, which is really important, is there's a lot more water falling on the roofs than most people think there is, me included, until I did that. Oh yeah, and I would recommend, if you want to read up a bit more on water, there's a bloke called Brad Lancaster, who's written at least 2 books which are really the most definitive books I've seen on capturing rainwater. And you can look him up online and on YouTube and so on. What do you want? One of our hatched chickens who became a rooster. So here we go. Now what we're approaching here is at this point in time, and we're in March, early March, this is the only tank that's actually fully installed. And this is a 2,500 gallon tank. And another one of our farm inmates there, Cheshire. So this tank, as I was saying, is 2,500 gallons. It's full. It's been full for a long time now because we installed it several weeks ago, a couple of months ago perhaps. So let's go through the mechanics of it, if that's the right word. So what we're doing here, we're capturing water off this roof, just this side, because there's another roof on the other side. There's also a pipe that comes from, I'll show this, look, sorry. There's a pipe that comes off that roof there and across and into this gutter here, so that we're capturing water from this roof here and that roof over there. And just to put some perspective on that, and that's from the gutters. Just to put some perspective on that, this tank, as I was saying, which is full, took about 2 weeks at the outside to fill, and it wasn't, I wouldn't say we were getting deluges at that point. So let me explain this here. We've gone through the water coming across here and so on, but this is the downspout that we're collecting water from. So these 2 roofs are coming into this one downspout. One thing that's a little counterintuitive was for me is we're actually capturing water at the bottom. The inlet is at the bottom of the tank, where the outlet is too, here. And as long as, is an important point, as long as your water source is higher than the tank itself, you're going to collect water from in here into the tank. A lot of people think, oh, how can you do that? Because the water's so heavy. But it doesn't work like that. It's not weight of water in here. You may feel pressure if you went down into the water a bit deeper, but not weight. I don't know whether that makes any sense. But another thing I want to show you here, though, is real simplicity. So before we address the issue of how can people start capturing rainwater, well, this is a 55-gallon food grade barrel, which you can get, fairly easily, and that we just sat that there, and you can probably see here, it's full of water, and it has been for weeks, and that's 55 gallons of water that, we just sat at an open barrel. There are some more of a different design, but these with the big open mouth are ideal for capturing water, in the barrel like we did here. So here we have another kind of 55-gallon barrel. This one hasn't got an open top like the one I was just showing you down there, but we just sat this here again, and it's full. It's completely full. 55 gallons of water just sitting there. What I'm trying to sort of illustrate here is how easy it is to capture water. It's not incredibly, like I said down there, it's not rocket science at all. So 2 different kinds of 55-gallon barrel. Behind me here is a pond that we have. We're very fortunate to have that. The owners here, Darren and his brother Shad, had put this in for an event, but it's such a fortuitous thing for us, because what have we got here? We've got quite a large body of water which we can use for irrigation should we need to. We're also going to put aquaculture in here. That's basically using you know, creating a circular system of fish. The excrete, that becomes, you know, basically fertiliser, natural fertiliser. There are some fish in there already, and there are newts, but we're going to add fish as this year goes on. It's now getting pretty warm, as you can see. So that's a really great thing to have. And we had a pond at the last place we were at, but it was smaller. But nevertheless, if you've got some land, this has a liner in it. That makes things work quicker. But if you've got some land, you know, and you can dig a pond, do it, because, you know, again, it's a retention of water. Aspect of our water capture capabilities here. Incidentally, this farm is just short of 5 acres in size, and it's bisected basically. We walked across the stream in the middle there, and we'll walk back across it when we go back. So these things here are what are called swales. We have 4 of them, and in this area here we're going to have a food forest. That's the whole point of the swales, basically. Well, in this case it's the whole point of the swales. So swales do 2 things in essence. They capture water, or they hold water on the land for longer than it would be normally. You know, typically it would run off into the stream, which is not a bad thing, but there's nothing wrong with slowing that down and capturing some of the water in the land. So that's the first essence of a swale. The second is to stop runoff of water, because water is a very, very powerful medium, as we find with the pond which got damaged during a heavy rainfall. It's very powerful, and water running down an incline can do all sorts of damage, you know. And the other second aspect of swales is that to slow down the runoff of water. And we actually saw an example of that, because on the day that the pond got damaged on that side of the farm, there was no damage at all on this side, and these swales were pretty full. The other thing we observed, which is very important, is we're on a slight downgrade here. So on that couple of days when it really rained, what we noticed is this top swale, which is where we're standing now, got full basically. The second one got a lot less full, the third less full, and the fourth less full again. And the point of that is that it wasn't what these swales were capturing was not just the rainfall, which obviously they were, but they were capturing the runoff of the water on the land. And the reason this top one got filled first is because it obviously captured, it's the first one in line, you could say. It captured a good deal of the water running down, and by the time we get to the second one there was less water running down, and so on. The other point of swales as well is they need to be done on contour, which means you need to, and it's fairly simple to do that. You can find again videos online, but they need to be on contour, so the water, otherwise it'd be like a channel going downhill and the water just amplifying the runoff of water. So these will be really great for us when we get the trees in here and the bushes and everything else we're going to put in here, in making sure that the land is irrigated well from a natural perspective. So that's the swales.
Welcome to paradise. A gunshot rings out at the station.
Yeah, another tip, by the way, just not directly related to water, is if you're interested in carbon farming, as it's being called now, makes total sense. Is plant bamboo, because bamboo is very good for, it can be eaten, certainly by some forms of life. It provides building material, obviously windbreaks, that's another great function of it. So yeah, and it grows very fast too, of course. So here we're heading down back to the stream, and so this is another source of water. And the way that we see it is like this. The primary source of water here will be rainfall or precipitation. The secondary supply of water will be from those tanks. The third supply, and perhaps the pond up there, the third level of water supply is this stream here, which runs through the property. It does get quite a bit less full in summer, but it never stopped running last year, which is great. We hope it's going to be the same this year. And you can hear the waterfall there where it comes down from the property above, and then just up the road there is it's quite a large body of water. So yeah, that's and then the water of last resort, we would say, for irrigation purposes, is the well. There's a well on the property, and that's because, you know, that's a finite resource. We don't know whether it's being replenished. You know, more's going back in than coming out, or it's staying at a steady state. But the reality is, you know, it's that water's too precious to use for irrigation. You know, and it makes me reflect back on when I used to live in California, that I would use the water there that was coming from, in some cases, over 1,000 miles away to water a lawn. Things have changed over the years. I've had an awakening. Luckily it wasn't a rude one. Okay. That's a lot of water talk. Okay, so thanks for, you know, for watching this if you do, and you know, just conserve your water, and that's it. However you do that, we all need to do it. Thank you.
Welcome to paradise.